Yes. The motion order to show cause was served on Ms. Dean August 10th, 2023. The most recent order regarding child support is the party's third order modifying their order for custody support and parenting time that was entered in August of 2014. That requires Ms. Dean to contribute $110 a month. I would indicate that overall, Ms. Dean's payment history has been very good until September of 2021. It's definitely fallen off since that time. The most recent payment made was in February of this year. The payment totaled in February was $541. There's currently $1,850.50 owed. Of that total amount owed, $1,212.65 is owed to the other party. I can pull further payment history up for the court's review.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Dean, so what's been going on?
Hi, I had a babysitter who would work with my autistic son. She moved away in 2020, a few years ago anyway. And I have been struggling really hard to find any daycares that would accept him because he's violent to himself and others. He's very severely autistic. So I've been staying home with him. And he just recently started school though, 2 weeks ago, and I am looking for a job. I found one that I have been working at 6 hours a week. It's not much, but they have been pulling the child support out of my check. So I'm unsure why it says my last payment was in February.
Okay, can you tell us where you're working?
I do home health care, taking care of a client who needs, who's disabled, who needs help. And I'm able to bring my children to this location is why it's been working.
Sure. And do you know what the company name is so that Mr. Hogue can see if we have an income withholding order in?
It would be his name. So Dennis.
We have we have that in our system, and it looks like an income withholding order went out in June. But there's not been any payment sent to the Michigan State Disbursement Unit.
Oh, my last check was $100. It took. I'm sorry. I was positive that it was being taken out. If it's not, I apologize.
Well, are you working with him through a company, or who could you talk to figure that out? I guess is what I'm trying to.
There's a payment company. It's called Stuart Wilson, but all they do is write the check.
Sure, but it's likely that the income withholding order either should be there or wherever payroll is where we need the income withholding order to come.
Okay.
The income to be withheld from that payer.
Yes, Ms. Dean, I think we need the payroll company information, not the client information.
Yeah, the payroll company is Stuart Wilson.
Stewart?
Stuart.
And ma'am,
I'm going to just quickly see if I can find something, Your Honor.
Sure. And then ma'am, do you have any contact information for that company where what I'm going to do, I'll just tell you, is just adjourn this out 60 days to see where we are. But in the meantime, I will need you to contact that agency or somebody on your end to see how we can get this going. Because if you have an income withholding order, we don't need to have court. We don't need to be here, because I understand it sounds like you're getting things back on track, which is really all I'm concerned with. Okay. So, but I can't adjourn this 60 days and then we come back and it's the same thing where it's, it's coming out. You think it's coming out. We don't know where it's going. We got to figure out if it's coming out, but we want to attribute that to your payments.
Okay, absolutely. I will get a hold of them. I can't find my current check stub, but even with the 6 hours, I was getting like $270 a week, or every 2 weeks, but my last checks were only like $90. So I assumed, I don't know where the rest of it went. It's been the same hours and pay. So I will contact them though. I will and get that taken care of for sure.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Hogue.
Yeah, Your Honor, I was able to find Stuart Wilson CPA. He is the payroll. It is the exact same address and everything, but I do believe that an income withholding order will be generated to the CPA who does the payroll, and they should get it. It should be in the same amount as the previous income withholding order, your current obligation plus $50 a month, which is $160 a month.
Yes.
Excellent.
hopefully
So
that'll be in
let's
place.
just adjourn this 60 days, see where we're at once we can get the income withholding order. And ma'am, I would encourage you to contact them to either let them know or see if there's anything you need to do. And if there is, let us know, contact your caseworker, reach out to us because we want to, resolve this issue before the next 60 days comes up. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Order
much.
show cause was served on Mr. Dibert August 14th, 2023. The most recent order regarding child support is the party's order for custody support and parenting time entered in March of 2011. That requires $299 a month. I would indicate that Mr. Dibert's payment history overall has been very good until May of 2023. That's the last month we received payment, and that payment was in the amount of $1,253.07. It was a non-voluntary lump sum payment. Currently, Mr. Dibert owes a total of $1,614.67. Of that total, $1,166 is owed to the other party, the remainder in fees, as well as medical support to the state of Michigan. I can pull the payment history up for the court's review.
All right. Thank you. So Mr. Dibert, what's been going on?
Basically, I've been injured. I've applied for Social Security, and that's in medical determination for Social Security disability.
Okay.
I haven't worked since February.
Okay. And do you have any medical paperwork or any of your application materials for Social Security that you could provide to your caseworker for us?
Yeah, I have a outside firm handling that, but yeah, I can send whichever you prefer, medical documents.
So what I'm looking for is if you're telling me you don't have the ability to work, you may not have the ability to pay. Okay. So that's something I need to evaluate. That means that we need any information we can get from you that could corroborate what you're saying. It's not that we don't believe you, but it's, if we had this information that says, hey, I'm unable to work right now, we will work with you before having to have a court hearing.
Yes.
But we need that information from you. So I don't know how much of all of the information we need, but what I would prefer is that you could provide something with anything that would let us know what's going on with your case or with your injury or whether you can work. Because if we have that information, I could make a finding today that says you don't have the ability to work right now, but I don't know that I can do that.
Yeah, I can get that paperwork for you.
All right. Do you know how to do that or to who your caseworker is or anything?
No. I mean, I can.
Your caseworker is Eric Solani, Mr. Dibert.
Okay. Yep. I know that. Yep.
Yeah. That's the person you're going to get the information to.
Okay.
Can we get that information within the next 14 days?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So again, I'll adjourn this one out 90 days and then let's get that information to your caseworker, at least to the front of the court office, because they can get it to your caseworker. It's just, we need you to provide whatever information is going to help us understand what's going on with you. Okay.
Yes, I can do that.
All right. So I'm hoping we can get whatever information you have that is relevant to your caseworker within 14 days. Okay.
Okay.
And if we'll go from there and hopefully we won't have to have our hearing in 90 days, but otherwise we might. Okay.
Motion order show cause was served on Mr. McGinnis August 10th, 2023. The most recent order regarding child support is the party's order for custody support and parenting time entered September 2nd, 2022. That order requires $260 a month in child support. It is partially based on a parental time offset of 104 overnights. Most recent payment received was $242.28 in February of 2023. I would indicate that Mr. McGinnis payments on his account were great until February of 2023. There have not been any payments made since. Currently, the total amount owed is $1,982.32. Of that total, $1,812.72 is owed to Ms. Boomer, the remainder in fees, as well as medical support to the state of Michigan. I can provide further payment history for the court's review.
Thank you. Mr. McGinnis, so what's been going on?
I'm currently unemployed, trying to start my own small business. Also, she had agreed for supervised visitations at her brother's house, which has not happened at all. So I have not even met the child yet. And it's just been tight. I also just got married recently and trying to figure out how to get those payments reduced so I can get back on track with it.
Okay. How long you been unemployed?
They were taking my payments out. Yeah, right around that last payment that went in, I guess.
So February?
Yes.
What happened with that job? And are you looking for jobs? And if so, where?
It just didn't work out there. And I mean, I've looked for a few, but like I said, I'm trying to get my own business up and running. Just fighting with it. It's been difficult trying to get it up and running.
Sure, but that's 7 months with no payments. So how can we get things back on track?
Well, a smaller monthly payment would certainly help.
Well, I can't adjust the payment. I can only enforce the court order that's in place. You have to file a different motion for that.
Okay, so how would I do that?
You file a motion with the court asking for what you want, and the court will schedule a hearing for it.
Okay.
But we got to figure out what's going on, because your arrears just keeps growing up. So what can you pay in the next 14 days?
I mean, I can send in $100. I probably get that. I'm sure I can get that in the next.
I want to see $100 in the next 14 days. I'll adjourn this out 60 days. But if it's another 60 days and no job and we're not getting any payments, we'll have a different conversation. Do you understand?
534 DC.
All right, thank you.
Motion order show cause was served on Mr.
Thanks,
Maliki August 10th, 2023. The party's most recent order regarding child support is their order for custody support and parenting time that was entered in May of 2017, and that requires $308 a month in child support. I would indicate that Mr. Maliki's most recent payment was in February of 2023, and that his payment history until February of 20.
We lost him.
Motion order show cause was served on Mr. Morrissey August 10th, 2023. The party's most recent order regarding child support is their second order modifying their order for custody support and parenting time entered in November of 2020. That requires $882 a month in child support. The most recent payment made was a $40 payment in June of 2023. I would indicate that up until April of 2023, Mr. Morrissey's payment history had been fairly good with ongoing income withholding orders. There is a significant outstanding balance at this time of $6,227.58. Of that total, $5,870.58 is owed to Ms. Light, and the remainder in fees. I can provide the payment history for the court's review.
Thank you. Mr. Morrissey, what's been going on?
Hi. In April of this year, I worked at Sara Lee, the pie plant on Cass Road, just outside of the city limits in Grand Traverse County. And at that time, the union president got my position, and I had pretty significant overtime at that time, and that 880 takes the entire my entire W-2 into it, including the overtime. And when the union president took my position, I got knocked down to an $18 an hour, 40-hour a week position. And until then, I said, shoot, I might as well make a go of it and create my own tree service. So that's what I did. I went and got my DBA, and then on June of 19th, I got exposed to what the doctor at Osteopathic Walk-In Clinic called the worst case of poison ivy he had ever seen. So I was down for 2 weeks. I literally couldn't get out of bed for 2 of them. But I recouped, and I'm learning the business and learning how to make bids and quote people. There's a learning curve. I am behind. I have every intention of catching up and getting current with Ms. Anderson. That's what's going on.
Okay. What can you pay in the next 14 days?
I have a contract in Elk Rapids that should be fulfilled this week. I can do 1,500 within the next 14 days. I'd like to do more. It's becoming the fall and people are backing out of bids right now, tightening up for the wintertime.
Okay. Well, as you're probably aware, I mean, with 882 a month, your arrears is going to go up largely when there's non-payment. I mean, it's going to start getting out of control.
Yes, sir. I went up to a friend of the court in May and let them know where I was and what was going on. And I'm not sure if I had anybody motion for a reevaluation at that time. I was told that we can reevaluate in the normal 3-year course, in the normal 3-year cycle in November. I think I was expected to kind of float it until then.
Well, does float to you mean not pay anything?
No, sir, it does not. Like I said, I have every intention of getting caught up and current with Ms. Anderson. I'm learning the business. I've apprenticed for a lot of woodsmen for 15 years, and I'm just getting into the business side of it and making quotes and contracts this season. So a lot of the overhead costs are something that I've never had to take into account. But no, by no means do I'm not living high off the hog or thinking I'm getting away with anything, sir. No, not at all. It doesn't mean not paying Ms. Anderson.
Okay. Ms. Light, anything you'd like to say?
I mean, I guess the only thing I'd like to maybe point out is I'm a little concerned just because of the nature of his business that he's now started, which is a tree service business. I'm wondering, like, Adam has done this once before where he's gone into, done his own business, I think with a similar kind of background doing trees and such. And I just worry about, like, in February, what trees are there to cut down in February? Like, what will you be doing during, like, the winter months? Like, is this something that's going to be able to provide, like, a continual child support payment even in those winter months when there are no trees or that kind of outside work available?
Okay. What I'd like to see, there's no need to talk about jail today. I'd like to see that $1,500 in 14 days.
Yes, sir.
As promised. I'm really only going to adjourn this out 60 days because then we can find out what your plan is. I mean, we're going to need more than $40 in every couple months is the problem. And I don't want to have to do a contempt here finding where, I'd rather just work with you on this. And so I don't know what your plan is for February or whatever, but we're going to find out in 60 days what your plan is moving forward. Yeah, it sounds like you'll have a review in 60 days, something like that. So I don't even know if your child support amount will change or whether, where we'll be. But one thing that I will want to know is what the plan is to get steady payments. I mean, if you're not making enough to pay the 882, we got to see something coming in that's more than $40 every 3 months. Okay, that's just not going to work.
Sir.
And
yes,
like
sir.
I said, at some point your arrears is so high, sir, that at a certain point we have to refer it to the prosecutor for felony prosecution because it's your monthly payment. I mean, at 882 a month, it's going to add up quick, but paying nothing. Look, $40 out of the 882, I do consider to be basically nothing. Okay, I'm not going to sugarcoat.
Yes, sir.
It's just we got to have something coming in because I don't want to see this get out of hand is the only thing. So if you'd like to prevent a contempt finding and a payment plan sort of order like that, where if you don't pay, a bench warrant can get issued, things like that, where we're talking about jail, basically every month. If you'd like to avoid that, we've got to see something. You got to work with us on it because I'm willing to work with you today, but it's sort of like a warning. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
But
the plan.
a large part. Let me say this too: is if you do come through with the $1,500 in 14 days, that's a huge payment. I'm not gonna. I will give you credit for that. I trust that you'll do it. But what happens sometimes is we come back and it's 60 days, and people are saying, "Well, I couldn't do this, didn't do that. Everything's the same," and then I have to change my approach.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
My plan was to since November is 2 months away, and it would be 882. And the 882 is based on almost 55 hours a week at like $20 an hour, $21 an hour. If we could motion to reevaluate by decree, that could keep me out of that trouble. And the
Now,
plan
you have to file that all on your own. That's not for today. It's on you to do that. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
the only thing I can tell you today is I want to see the $1,500 in 14 days, and then we'll see in 60 days, and hopefully we've got a different story.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And just to alleviate concerns about the winter.
I think that's good. Thank you, sir.
That's good.
Yes, sir.
We're all set. Thank you.
Thank you.
534 DC, a motion order show cause was served on Mr. Maliki 8/10/23. Most recent order regarding child support is the party's order for custody, support, and parenting time. Their original order from May of 2017 requires $308 a month in child support. Most recent payment made was in February of 2023, $201.61 was paid. I would indicate that until February of 2023, Mr. Maliki was in a good spot. He'd been paying well until that time. However, there is now an outstanding balance of $3,289.54. Of that amount, $3,007.79 is owed to Ms. Shattuck. The remainder in costs and medical support to the state of Michigan.
All right, Mr. Maliki, what's been going on?
To begin with, I had to move in the spring here. So first off, I got let go from that job that I was at. And then following that, I had to move my parents and myself to a different location. We ended up having to stay in a hotel for a little bit. And then I went back to work for about a month, got hurt. And then right after I got hurt, my dad went into the hospital, and he was in the hospital for probably 2 months or so. And then my mom went into the hospital. She was in there for about 2 weeks. So I've been taking care of them, and then just everything going on in general. I've actually been starting to look for work now, and because I'm self-employed right now. So I'm putting in a bid for a remodel on a mobile home trailer, which is what I was going to use to get caught back up. Amanda did say that she had wrote front of the court about writing off. I believe it was like $1,500.
Okay, when did she say that?
She said she sent it in a while ago, and then when she called, they said that they haven't received it yet.
Yeah, we don't have anything in our file. But how are we going to get you back on track here? Because we're pretty far behind.
I mean, I'm doing what I can do right now. It's like I said, I'm waiting to figure out if I got this bid or not, and I'm waiting to hear from the local 85 for pipe fitters and welders of Michigan to whether or not I have the apprentice program or been accepted to it and can start for my journeymans.
All right. Well, look, we don't, because of there seems to be, you've got some hardships going on recently. We don't have to talk about jail, but we've got quite a bit of non-payment. I want to give you some sort of incentive to be paying. So I'm going to make a contempt finding. I don't find any manifest hardship. I believe you could be making some type of payments here. So you're going to need to pay what's owed, the $308 plus $87 a month. If you fail to do so, this is a 2-year payment plan. If you fail to do so, bench warrant could be issued for your arrest. You may have to serve up to 30 days in jail. I'll set bond at $500. So all you have to do is pay as ordered, sir, and there won't be any issues. Understood?
Yes, Amanda is with me, and she wanted to state that she did right in front of the court about that.
Can you put the camera back on and stop smoking and let us see?
Yes, I'm gonna get her right now. I stepped outside because of the dogs.
Well, look, here's the problem. We have to start a new round of hearings in 9 minutes. So just let her know that she needs to write in front of the court. We haven't received anything. Okay. That's all. That's all we need from her is
a note.
That's all I'd be saying is, hey, if this is something you're willing to do and Mr. Maliki is correct, please just write us. We can waive that arrears. We'd be happy to do that for you, sir. But we got to have her reach out and put it in writing.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. August 10th, 2023. The most recent order regarding child support in this matter is the party's fifth order modifying their judgment of divorce that was entered in October of 2022. That requires $628 a month in child support. There's also a health insurance premium that was added in July of 2023 that is included in that $628. Recent payment made was $403 in May of 2023. That was a non-voluntary lump sum, but I would indicate up until April of 2023, Ms. Casselle's payment history had been fairly good. However, she currently owes a total of $4,493.34. Of that total amount, $4,437.34 is owed to Mr. Yachik. I can pull the payment history up for the court's review.
All right, Ms. Casselle, what's been going on?
I transferred jobs and I submitted the paperwork that said that I had made the transfer so that the direct withdrawal would change. Apparently that wasn't received and I thought that it was being taken out. It turns out that was my insurance premium, which was my error. So we have since then gotten it squared away with my employer. It was directly withdrawn from my paycheck this last week and I do have a plan to get myself caught up.
Okay, Mr. Hogue, you're indicating that we do have the income withholding order in place?
Yeah, it looks like the first payment just hit 2 days ago.
Okay. Mr. Yachik, anything you'd like to add or say?
No, I had communicated, that we hadn't been receiving it. She had said, and that, it had been taken out. It appears that we know what the error was. I was kind of mainly hoping that, that it'd been an error with her employer.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. I'm happy to have that information. It's good that we've got, you've got a plan, ma'am. It sounds like you've got the income withholding order in place. I do appreciate you addressing the error because now we're back on track. I'm going to dismiss the contempt. So we're all set here.
DP.
Thank you both.
There was a show cause hearing in July 6th, 2023. Mr. Collins reported manifest hardship and potential employment situation that was coming up. So we adjourned the matter to today's date to hopefully have a little different story going on. The most recent order regarding child support in this matter is the party's fourth order modifying the order for custody support and parenting time. It was entered in December of 2019. That requires $355 a month total. There was a non-voluntary lump sum payment made in March of 2023 of $897.80. I would indicate that overall, Mr. Collins' payment history has been intermittent to poor. He currently owes on a $355 a month obligation. He currently owes $9,301.65. Of that amount, $8,773.66 is owed to the other party. The remainder in fees as well as medical support to the state of Michigan. I can pull the payment history up for the court's review.
All right, Mr. Collins, what's been going on?
Well, I have good news, sir. I have since established housing, so I'm no longer going to be homeless as of next month. I'm going to be moving into the brand new Root Park Apartments by the homeless shelter over on 8th and Wellington, which will give me the sustainability that I need to be able to maintain employment, which has been difficult to do since I have been indigent and homeless over the last 3.5 to 4 months. I do have money on me now to make a payment. I can make half of the $355. I'm waiting on my mom's check to clear, sir. It's a sizable check. I did a mobile deposit on my phone last Saturday. I don't know why it hasn't cleared yet, but they assured me it would clear by tomorrow and I can make another payment as of tomorrow with that check because I do want to resolve this matter. I accept full ownership of it, and you've been very patient and nice with me, and I want to make good with what I have to do. All I want to do is make a payment. And then I know when I get into my housing, that's really going to allow me to not have to worry about employment anymore. It's just been hard because I've been homeless. So I'm not making any excuses. I just want to make some payments. I do know once it reaches the $10,000 mark, which it's right on the cusp of that happening, I'm not going to allow that to happen. I know I could face potential, felony charges, and I don't want that. I've been in that situation before when I owed $24,000 a couple of years ago, and I was able to absolve that by paying that off in its entirety. And I want to show you what I could do within the next couple of weeks. And if I don't do what I say I'm going to do, I have no problems turning myself in, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, congratulations on the housing. I'm very happy to hear that. Did you say
Thank you, sir.
You're on the job hunt, or you have a prospect?
I have a viable prospect, Your Honor. Actually, they tried calling me when I've been on hold before I was connecting with you. It's with Spectrum, and it's a really, really good job opportunity. It's $20 an hour plus commission. And I have a feeling I'm going to get the job, especially now with me having housing. That's really going to bode well in my favor.
Okay,
So
excellent.
I'm really trying, Your Honor. I really am. I really am.
It sounds like your efforts are paying off, sir. So that's good. I wish you good luck with that. We'll get you out of here so you can call them back. I do want to see what is, when you say half of the 355, what does that mean to you that you're going to pay?
Well, I have almost $200 in cash in my possession. And the reason why I haven't remitted payment yet is because I do want to make the full 355. And with my mom's check that I have in my account, which I'm waiting to clear, that would allow me to pay the full month for September, Your Honor. With the 355, I was just waiting on the check.
That'd be great. What'd you say you paid? What amount did you say you paid last Saturday?
Last Saturday was the check that I deposited from my mom. So I haven't paid anything yet. I'm just waiting on that check to clear.
I misunderstood. Okay. I thought you said you submitted a payment, but it was a payment to your account.
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay,
sir.
I got you. Well, here's the thing, because things are going well. I don't want to disrupt any of that. I want to check back in. We'll adjourn this 60 more days.
Okay.
Because I think we're at a situation where you're on the uptick, on a positive trajectory, but I do want to monitor it. Okay. So I want to give you credit for your efforts there. I trust you because what you've said so far has come true. You have housing, you have a job, hopefully lined up. And I'm hoping that in 60 days, we'll have an income withholding order with Spectrum and we won't have to see you in court anymore. Okay.
Yes, sir. And I really appreciate you allowing me to show what I can do. And I know you don't have to, and it means a lot. And I appreciate Mr. Hogue as well. I'm really trying. And now that I have my housing, it's going to be a huge relief because I can't really do the homelessness anymore. It's been really affecting my mental health. And, living in the Pines is not fun.
So I'm guessing not. And just in time here as it's starting to get colder. So,
yes, sir.
Keep in mind though, I don't know if we don't want your arrears to keep going up because, as you said, a felony could not just affect your record, but could affect your house.
Yes, sir.
So let's just keep going on the path you are, sir, because it's going well for you.
Thank you very much, sir. I really
appreciate
Your
Honor. So we're adjourning for 60 days, and we're expecting the payment for September to be made in full by September 30th.
That's correct.
Very good.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Hearing occurred July 6, 2023. At that time, Mr. Charters appeared along with his counsel, Jacob Graff, and the recipient Amanda Charters was also present. Defendant and attorney requested additional adjournment to ensure the appropriate paperwork can be provided to the court. The court obliged that request and adjourned the matter to today's date. The order for custody support and parenting time is the order that is that indicates the child support obligation that was entered May 5th, 2022. That monthly obligation is $919. Mr. Charters has made 0 payments since the case started charging. He currently owes $14,770.50 of that amount. $13,936 is owed to the other party. So he's already surpassed the threshold for potential felony non-support charges.
Thank you, Mr. Graff.
Thank you, Honor. I guess to start off, I appreciate obviously the court entertaining our prior request. I did hand deliver some documents that were provided to me before the last hearing and after our hearing to the front of the court. Hopefully those made it. Unfortunately, at about 9 o'clock or quarter to 9 o'clock last night, I received a couple emails from Mr. Charters with approximately 10 attachments, I believe, between the two of them with medical records. I've been in court, and so I've been trying to review those while in court for other cases this morning. He indicated in his message to me that he also forwarded those on to the court. I don't know if the court received those or had a chance to review them. So I guess there is some medical information that we can go through. I don't know if the court's had the chance to review the latest information.
I haven't received anything.
Okay.
So we start these at 9:15 for Grand Traverse County ones and AM, and we have basically not stopped since then. So I have not received anything. I don't know why, when the warning keeps coming, why anyone would think that that's less than 24 hours notice to a court is appropriate. But that seems to be the way this case is going. Ms. Charters, anything you want to add?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
All right. So here's the deal. Here's how I'm going to handle this, because I think it's completely unreasonable to provide a court with information less than 24 hours in advance of a hearing where you could possibly go to jail, sir. So I am going to make a contempt finding. We won't talk about jail, but I don't have anything in my record to suggest that you have a manifest hardship or that you can't pay as ordered. essentially we are well beyond the felony threshold. I suspect that our friend of the court will be referring this to the prosecutor to review for possible felony prosecution. You will be on a 2-year payment plan. Because your bill's so high and the arrears, I'll lower your arrears amount owed, but it's $9.19 a month plus $25, which like that $25 isn't going to help the arrears at all. But we got to get some payments coming in. If you fail to pay as ordered, a bench warrant could be issued for your arrest. You may have to serve up to 30 days in jail. I'll set bond at $2,000. So basically, I mean, we have allegations. Here's part of the problem is we have allegations that you're working under the table and not paying. I don't have any information here. The same information that you provided, if it says that there's a manifest hardship and that you cannot pay, you're welcome to show that to your caseworker. I just don't know. I can't get you to do it in a timely manner. And so I can only go by the information that I have today. And by all accounts, I think I'm well within the court's right to send a warrant out for you to be arrested right now, but I don't need to do that. But I don't know how to get you to comply and to show us information that honestly only benefits you. So if we can't get you to do that, even with an attorney to help you out and everything, because I know Mr. Graff is working on arduously on your behalf. So this is up to you now, sir. Mr. Charters, if you want to take the payment plan seriously and start helping yourself. Otherwise, you need to start helping the child in this case and paying child support. So we'll stand adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And Mr. Graff is discharged from the case, Mr. Hogue.
Mr. Yetter was served with a motion order to
Thank
show
you.
cause
Thank you,
August
Your Honor.
10th, 2023. And their child support obligation is based on the party's judgment of divorce that was entered in January of 2020. That judgment of divorce requires a $98 a month payment for the party's 2 children. There is a parental time offset of 182.5 overnights. I would indicate that the most recent payments received were in February of this year. The total payments in February were $639. And I would say that Mr. Yetter had been keeping his account fairly current until February of 2023, but mostly through occasional lump sum payments. Currently, he owes $864.72 of that amount. $434 is owed to his co-parent. $325.72 is owed to the state for medical support, and the remainder in fees. I can pull the payment history up for the court's review.
Okay, so Mr. Yetter, what's been going on?
I just had a run of bad luck. I mean, I'm not working a whole lot. The guy I work for, if it rains, we don't work, and if he's not very reliable, really, for an employer, I don't think. But I actually have a job interview tomorrow for a different job. And just everything's come up, vehicle broke down. I mean, I'm not making excuses, but I realize I'm behind, and I don't want to be behind, but I'm behind on everything. And my house payment's a month behind, my gas, electric bill's a month behind. Everything's behind. I'm just trying to seems like I'm drowning here. I'm trying to get afloat.
Okay, where are you interviewing tomorrow?
For a guy named Lowell. I can't remember the name of his company, but it's an electrical company. I'm going to get back in the electrical field.
Okay, is
His
this
last name is Hill. Lowell Hill.
okay?
And he wants to meet with me tomorrow. He wants to meet with me tomorrow around 3:30, 4 o'clock. So hopefully something comes out of that positive.
Sure. Ms. Boyle, anything you want to say or add?
Just that he used that excuse last year too.
Okay. So the one thing is we're the balance, the arrears, comparatively speaking, is not out, it's not outrageous, but when you look at the monthly payment, it's a lot of non-payments. So Mr. Yetter, what can you pay in the next 14 days?
I don't know. In the next month, I can make at least $100 or $150 payment, depending on my new job. If I get this job, I can make more.
Well, with 98, sure, but $98 a month is not that high of a bill.
I realize that. I can make a payment in the next 14 days. I can make one payment of $100 in the next 14 days.
All right. Here's what I'll do then. I'll throw jail off the table, but I've got to get something going here in terms of payment plan. So because I think you do have the ability to pay. We're not seeing it. I understand certain real hardships, but in terms of a legal finding of a manifest hardship, I'm not finding that here. So you're going to need to pay what's owed. Plus, I'll just do an arrears amount. Normally we do $87, but I don't want to double your bill. I mean, you're already having trouble. So we're just going to do $10 towards arrears instead of an 87. So I'll keep your monthly payment low. But we got to start chipping away at the arrears, and we have to start figuring out a way to get steady payments. That's a 2-year payment plan. If you fail to pay as ordered, a bench warrant could be issued for your arrest. And you may have to serve up to 30 days in jail, which is not anything anyone wants, especially if you are spending, 182 of those overnights. I mean, I recognize that as some of what's going on is you're sharing expenses for the children you're spending time with. So I don't want any issues there. I don't want to get your arrears too far behind with regard. Well, as we look at your monthly payment and what the arrears is, so, or what the arrears are, I suppose. I'll set bond at $250. So all you have to do is pay as ordered, sir. And you've told me today you're going to do that. I mean, if you said you could pay $100 in 14 days, as long as you can pay $108 a month, you don't have any issues with this court. So I'm trusting you to be able to do that. But otherwise, we'll stand adjourned.
Motion order to show cause was served on Mr. Boomer August 10th, 2023. And the most recent order regarding child support in this matter is an order entered in June of 2022. It was the 6th order modifying their order for custody support and parenting time. That requires Mr. Boomer to contribute $718 a month for 3 children. Mostly, the last payments received were in October of 2022. And most of those payments were received as a result of a non-voluntary lump sum, but the total amount paid in October was $3,225.05. We're almost a year since that payment was made. There is currently a total arrearage balance of $8,845.23. Of that total, $8,004.19 is owed to Ms. Popa. The remainder in medical support to the state of about $780, and the rest is fees. I can provide a payment history for the court's review.
Thank you, Mr. Boomer. What's been going on?
To be honest, Your Honor, I spent 9 months incarcerated. So I got out pretty much. That's what put me in the hole was those 9 months. And when I got out, I lost my job, lost my house, and pretty much was in financial ruin. Even my part-time company that I started, I lost all 30 accounts. Pretty much been trying to start over from scratch. And I switched careers and started working with a developer and builder, but I had to start out at the very bottom and started out at $16.50 an hour, and been trying to maintain and keep my head afloat. I mean, just the place where I'm staying right now, I mean, it's $1,800 a month just for that. And I know it hasn't been much, but I've been every little bit I can. Every time Ms. Pope asks me for money, like I just give it to her instead of coming to the front of the court and paying it that way. I just been giving her cash. So until I can get further ahead in this new business venture that I'm starting for myself, that's where I ran into the problem. Was 9 months incarcerated.
When was the incarceration?
From last August through January, February. I got out, I think beginning of February. And then of course, winter, I had to finish out the rest of the winter. So that was, and I actually didn't start working for this guy until mid-June.
Okay. But we still have, since you've been out, it's 7 months, we had no payments, right?
Right. Except for the 4 or 5. Oh, I gave her $500 2 weeks ago, the kids for school clothes. And then just recently another $200.
All right.
But
and I don't know if you're aware, but just so you know, the cash doesn't flow through us, we can't keep account for. Do you know that?
Right.
So I'd love to give you credit for $700. That's a pretty good amount of money. I mean, it's less, right. Obviously it's less than your monthly obligation, but it's something that I could consider. So we don't have to talk about jail anymore.
Right.
So how can we start getting steady payments coming through the system here so we can make sure that you're at least paying something?
Here actually within the next couple of days, because the deal that I have with this developer as an apprentice under him, how the deal goes, he starts me out at $16 an hour or $16.50 and I do good, then as his apprentice, I can get a partnership under him and I'm going to get 13% off of the sale of the house to get me back on my feet. And we just had a cash offer on the first house we did.
All right. So at least, there's some positives here. Things are going well. So I don't want to interrupt your work with any jail, so we could throw that off the table. But I'm not, if your incarceration just ended, yesterday, I'd be a little more understanding as to why we haven't received any payments. But for 7 months, we're not seeing anything. You're back on your feet. So I don't want to, like I said, jail is off the table for today. But I think you've had the ability to pay, you're not paying. So then I don't find any manifest hardship. So I'm going to put you on the payment plan, and that comes with a contempt finding. So you need to pay what's owed. I guess I've been saying this morning, but typically I would do $87, but I don't really want to tack that on right now. I'll do $20. Again, $20 towards an $8,000 arrears is not going to do anything, but I want to see you just stay employed, sir, stay with the job and get some steady payments coming in. So I don't want to burden you too much with that amount, but it is for 3 children. So it's not, we got to get you back on track and get you focused.
He also said that I wasn't going to be at $16.50 forever. That's the first couple of months, you know what I mean? Understood.
No, I'm giving you credit for making the right efforts here at this point. So I want to encourage you to continue to do that. I'm very happy with that, and I trust you, sir. But this is a way to make sure that it happens, because if you fail to pay as ordered, a bench warrant could be issued for your arrest. You may have to serve up to 30 days in jail. I will set bond at $1,000. So if you pay as ordered, we don't have to deal with jail or anything, and we just don't need to come back for hearings and do it this way. Okay. Good luck, sir.
We had a show cause hearing of Mr. Malenfant on
you.
June 8th of 2023. He appeared at that time and reported significant manifest hardship impacting his ability to obtain and maintain employment. Mr. Malenfant was referred to family support court at that time. In fact, we had our family support court coordinator contact Mr. Malenfant as opposed to requiring Mr. Malenfant to make that contact. The most recent order regarding child support is the order for custody support and parenting time that was entered in May of 2019. That requires $148 a month in child support. The most recent payment made was in March of 2020. These payments are to the state as the child is in foster care. Mr. Malenfant's overall history has been poor. He currently owes $7,901.95. Of that amount, $6,351.53 is owed in child care and child support. There are a number of balances. It's an additional $578.86 in historical child care and child support owed to the state. The remainder is fees related to the charging of support. Mr. Malenfant did participate for a very short time in family support court with Mr. Greenman, but he had been, after he failed to appear for 2 weeks in a row, Mr. Greenman made multiple telephone attempts and finally a follow-up correspondence sent the end of August, just saying you either are going to need to show up or you're going to be back in the regular FOC enforcement system. I can pull the payment history up for the court's review.
Presumably we never heard from him then?
He came a couple of times to meet with Mr. Greenman.
No, I mean after that final warning, because we're back on this track.
Yeah, not.
So, Mr. Malenfant, what happened with family support court?
Well, I was going to my appointments with the Great Lakes for my mental health and my physical health, and I had lost a contact with Mr. Greenman, and I had just received a letter. I had left him a message. I believe it was Friday or maybe it was Monday that I'd like to visit with him and get back in touch with him. There was a few things that me and Steve were talking about with my counselor and getting with a therapist, and he also had suggested to me that I file for disability. So throughout the time that I haven't seen seen Steve Green when I had went through with my counseling and made things good with that. And also, like, he had suggested to apply for disability. And I just left him a message on his machine, give me a call back. Says Kevin Mello can't get back in touch with you, So I'm not sure if he had received the message, but it was either, it had to have been Monday. Monday I had called him.
Okay, Monday of this week?
I believe so, Your Honor.
Okay, so did you receive the calls that Mr. Greenman made to you towards the end of August there for a couple of weeks?
Well, the thing is with my telephone, I won't hear calls. I'll receive voice messages, and it's confusing. I have 3 different phone things. There's like text now, then there's the regular phone. To my acknowledgement, I haven't talked with Steve,
Right. Have you talked with your therapist about providing Mr. Greenman with any releases or anything like that so we can talk about counseling with you?
I got a call this morning. I believe her name was Laura. She's my therapist now. I have my first meeting with her on the 29th of September at 11 o'clock. And if there's a release or anything for Steve to talk with any of them, it's fine,
All right. What do you have going on today after this hearing?
I was go do some Walmart shopping, go pick up a couple groceries.
All right. Are you on a phone or a computer right now talking to me?
I'm on my telephone.
All right. So the point is, immediately after this hearing, you can call Mr. Greenman, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, sir.
All right. So I want you to call. I don't know what his office hours are or anything. I'm not saying that he's going to pick up, but I want you to call immediately after this hearing and tell him that the referee said that I want you back in family support court and I want you to be returning phone calls as you receive them. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because it sounds like this is the way it sounds to me. Okay. Is that you were doing what was asked, but we're having trouble communicating with you. Okay. So we don't know, we can only, I suppose it's a proactive step for us to send out show cause notices, but all of the information that we can really ever receive is if you provide it. Okay. So we don't know what's going on. We don't have any indication that you're seeing a therapist or applying for disability. We don't have any of that information unless you tell us. Okay. Yes, so we're the way to say is we're monitoring your case based on child support, non-payment or payment. Okay. So if you're doing things that the court expects you to do and wants to help you with, you have to help us receive that information. Okay. So I'm going to give you another shot with family support court. And then Mr. Hogue, I would just like it noted that if we're, before we release him, I'd like to have a conversation with you and Mr. Greenman about it before we just release him.
Very good.
Because this is Mr. Malenfant, this is sort of your warning that you need to, keep your phone updated and contact Mr. Greenman. If we could set up a steady schedule to call, that might work best here. That may not always be something that Mr. Greenman can do because I know that he not only has family support card, but he does have a regular docket as well. So I'm happy to help coordinate any of that, Mr. Hogue, as well. If we want to schedule a meeting with Mr. Greenman, you and me, I'm fine with that. But let's give this another shot, Mr. Malenfant, and just keep in mind that it's very, very important for us to communicate. Okay. And that includes you. We can't, it's difficult for us to provide you with any help or services if we can't get a hold of you. And that's what happened.
Your Honor, sir, there's been times where me and Mr. Greenman, we have been on the phone and sometimes I could hear him, but he can't hear me. We've had issues with the telephone a few times where we had to call back a couple times back and forth till I don't know if it was a poor connection with my line or something, but yeah, there was a couple instances where me and Steve had difficulties over the telephone to where he was just like, well, just come and see me, you know? So I would go see him. And
Okay. It sounds like you've been working with Mr. Greenman at least a little bit, but we got to stay in contact. And then any information that you can provide us on the disability claim, anything like that. Okay. And Mr. Greenman will work with you, but if I'm just trying to give you, I guess, some bullet points here. Okay. Cause we'll go over some things a little more in depth, but, anything that you can provide paperwork or whatever on your disability claim, things like that. And then make sure, I know I'm repeating myself, but this is on purpose. Okay. Keep in touch with Mr. Greenman. Okay. All
yes,
right.
Your Honor, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank
let's see how, I don't want to, I guess I'll just adjourn out 90 days. I didn't want to schedule a new hearing. I'm going to leave the discretion as to whether we schedule a hearing on this docket to you and Mr. Greenman, Mr. Hogg. So
good.
I don't know if you want to, how you want me to handle that on the record, because I don't want to just dismiss it, but I don't really care about having a hearing like this if we're working on front.
Got it. I believe if Mr. Malenfant if he's participating and cooperating with Famous Support Court, we will just dismiss that adjourned hearing. But I do think setting it out for 90 days is a little incentive for Mr. Malenfant to get back in touch with Mr. Greenman. Okay.
Absolutely, because he's going to call right after this hearing, right, sir?
Yes, Your Honor, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Show cause hearings have been ongoing. We had a hearing on June 8th that was continued on July 6th of 2023, and the matter was adjourned further to today's date. He, at the July 6th hearing, reported a new employer for which an income withholding order had been prepared. However, that employer indicated that he had either been terminated or not secured employment. The most recent order regarding child support is the party's consent judgment of divorce that was entered December 9th, 2022. That requires $648 a month in child support, medical support, and child care. The most recent payment made was $100 in June of 2023. Mr. Myas' payment history has been poor. However, he has communicated to our office over the last week and a half. The first correspondence came in indicating he was expecting to secure employment with a different employer. And then we had additional communication come in after this past weekend that indicated Mr. Myas had been in a car accident and was hospitalized. And I believe he just had surgery, or at least he's alleged to have had surgery on his hip. And we just don't have any verification of that yet. Wasn't even sure if Mr. Myas was going to appear today, but since he's here, we can address this matter. He owes a total of $8,073. Of that total, $7,830.48 is owed to Miss Simpson.
Okay, so it looked like you were showing us an X-ray there, and I thought I saw some crutches.
Yeah,
so what's been going on, Mr. Myas?
So I got a job at Sentry. Sorry about that. I have the surgeons, the things that you guys need to get signed by my surgeon. He was in surgery all day yesterday. That will be sent to you guys today. I have a job at Sentry. I was hired in. I sent that in. I got into a car accident Saturday night. I was starting Monday, and I broke my hip. And I am out for 4 to 6 weeks, no driving right now. I don't know what's going on to go forward. I have the job at Sentry when I can be stable to walk again, but I don't know how long it's going to be. Like, I don't know how long it's going to be for recovery and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, and we're certainly sorry to hear about your accident, and that we wish you a swift recovery. What I'm going to do is, if you could provide all that, it sounds like you're already in the process of providing that. So make sure you just hold on. Okay. Make sure you get all that information provided to your caseworker, within the next 7 days. I'm hoping you do it today. I understand that, but I'd like to see that within the next 7 days. Even just a glance at that X-ray and then seeing crutches, and we have a report. I trust you. I'm going to dismiss the contempt for today based on manifest hardship. What I will say, though, Mr. Myas, is, and it sounds like you've been pretty good about communicating with us, which is not always what I hear on these days. So please keep that up, is what I'm requesting, because if we have non-payments and then we have to schedule something like this again and we find out, well, you're still recovering, you're working at it, I'd rather you go over that with your caseworker than with me during a show cause hearing. Okay.
Absolutely, sir.
So if you can just provide whatever you think would help your case to your caseworker when you can. Okay.
Yep. I just wanted to let you
just keep us updated. Communicating with us is a good way to stay off this docket.
Yes, and I did pay Tiffany Friday $150.
Okay. And that's great. You're aware, I'm sure, that if you pay
Yes,
directly, we don't.
I know.
Yeah, but right now, from my perspective, the contempt's dismissed. I want you to get better, get back to work. Just keep us updated, okay?
Yes, sir. I will.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, it's September 14th, 2023. This is a date and time set for front of the court show cause hearing with regard to child support. Ms. Nambuki, if you'd state your name for the record, please.
Danielle Nambuki.
You may have to speak up a little bit, please.
Danielle Nambuki.
Thank you, Mr. Hogue.
Jeremy Hogue, friend of the court. A motion order to show cause was originally served on Ms. Nabuki June 5th, 2023 for a July 6th show cause hearing at which she appeared. And she promised that she would make a payment of $100 within 14 days, which she has done. She was also referred, or at least provided information at the hearing regarding family support court, and was encouraged to contact Mr. Greenman. I don't believe that has occurred, but the most recent order regarding child support in this matter is the party's second order modifying their order for custody support and parenting time entered in July of 2017. That order requires Ms. Nabuki to pay $218 a month in child support and medical support. I would indicate that her payment history was good until November of 2022. She did make that payment in July of 2023, as she promised, $100. There is currently an outstanding balance of $2,170.62. Of that amount, $1,956.28 is owed to Mr. Otto. I can pull the payment history up for the court's review.
Oh, thank you. So, Ms. Nambuki, did you ever, let's follow up with the, did you ever reach out to Mr. Greenman, Family Support Court?
No.
Any reason why?
I don't remember having that discussion. I didn't receive anything in the mail with the contact information to follow up. And like I said, I don't remember having that discussion to follow up with anybody.
You're going to have to speak up, ma'am. I can barely hear you. I don't know if it's the noise around you or what, but I can't hear you.
Okay.
Go ahead. Let me know what you were saying something about why you didn't reach out to Mr. Greenman. So I just did it. I didn't. You just did not do it?
Yeah, I don't recall having a conversation to reach out to anyone. I didn't receive anything in the mail with any contact information regarding contacting any Mr. Friedman or Greenman. So this is the first time I recall hearing about it.
Do you remember being in court where the court told you to do that?
Yes. I don't remember that part, but I do remember being in court on the date that you guys ordered me to be on the Zoom call, just like today. I received the paper, regarding the court today, and I received the paper regarding the court that time. I do not recall having to contact any Mr. Greenman, which I don't have a problem doing.
Okay. And you received the notice of today at the same address, is that correct?
Right, correct.
All right. Well, we'll resend you the information on Family Support Court. I'm fine with that. I am happy that you paid the $100 within the 14 days as promised. How are things going in terms of getting back on track with any payment?
I am currently still actively looking for employment. I just had a mishap with my hand where I had to have surgery. So that's kind of the holdup in finding employment. Now, if I had employment during that, I'm sure I would be able to work, but it's harder to find employment with the slight disability at the moment.
Sure. Is that something, any medical information that you have that you could provide to your caseworker, just so we can verify?
Yes, I can.
All right. Mr. Hogue, could you let her know who her caseworker is so that because we're having this conversation now and it's recorded. So I want to make sure we're all on board with what's happening from today on.
Yes, Your Honor, her caseworker is Angela Pelletier. And obviously we'll send you, Mr. Nabuki will send you information, a brochure on Family Support Court that has Mr. Greenman's contact information. He also works here in this office. I will also note, Your Honor, that a payment just posted today, an additional payment of $140.
Excellent.
Mr. Greenman with a G or Friedman with an S?
Good question. It's green like the color.
Okay.
Man, Greenman.
Okay, got that. I got Ms. Pelletier and Mr. Greenman.
Indeed, yes.
And it's so, ma'am, it sounds like you made another payment of $140 at least today, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, a few days ago, it just posted as of today.
Okay, understood. Mr. Otto, anything you'd like to say or add?
I'd just like to add the fact that she was already in contempt of court once over overdue child support, and she only pays when the court orders her with the threatening of jail time if not paying.
So they have a previous history of payments that had been made that he referenced, correct? Where there was a positive payment history, correct? Until recently in November, and we've already addressed that, correct?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Right. Well, that was the recipient, and I understand, sir. What we're trying to do is work with Ms. Nambuki to get her back on track so that we do get steady payments and so that we don't have court. So going forward from today, we're gonna try this family support court again, and then I'll adjourn it out 90 days. If we are back in the same situation where we're not having any contact with a caseworker or Mr. Greenman, at that point, there won't be much choice for me but to have a different conversation. Okay.
All right. And I had a question. My son, now that he's getting older, he joined band and all that, and I have to pay for an instrument and uniforms and all that. How do I go about getting child support altered to reflect all the added expenses that I'm under right now?
You could file anything with regard to modifying child support. You'd file a motion with the front of the court.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Hogue.
I just want to say, Mr. Otto, you guys are past the statutory requirement. So you don't need to file a motion. You could just send a note to your caseworker requesting a review of child support. It's been 6 years since the last order was entered. So a review, you're right for review. You could just send a note.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
The request just has to be in writing, okay?
Correct.
Okay.
All right, thank you both. Be on the lookout for the mail, ma'am, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.